pipes and streams noises. And I'm sure that I've been to a birthday party there before. So it's now kind of like a venue that you can hire out, and I think they still use it as a church occasionally. So my mission is to find a way to get in there and have a little look. I've read something there that they are doing yoga classes there now, so I'm going to try and use that as my in to go in there and have a meet. But I just think it's so interesting that there is this 13th century Domesday era chapel that is just hanging out still in this modern era.
This story is set in a location that is between Rutherford Stride, the village of Birchover, and the Druids Inn. 2 decades ago, I was mostly working with people as a youth and community worker, and so we were on residential in Cromford at the Heath Hostel, and we'd gone out for the day, and there were 8 young people and 3 adults, myself, a guy called Dan, who was the leader, and another leader called Tim. We'd been out for a good few hours, and we were walking on the road. It was getting dark enough for us to need to put our head torches on. There were a few quite strong characters. One of them was about 6'2". He'd made a point of telling us how he was a black belt in some martial art and had been rubbing up against a few people. So we were walking on the road. As we were walking, I was looking in the long grasses on the side of the road. As we were walking, I noticed a dark shape moving. It was walking like a cat, but it was too big. At the same time, there was some commotion starting to build at the back of the line. I noticed Dan's head torch started to shine into the grass where I was looking. I thought, oh, he's spotted this thing too. But at the same time, the commotion was getting stronger, and it was this lad. He'd started to pick a fight with Tim. It became quickly apparent that someone was going to step in and separate them. So I was given the instruction to take the rest of the group, and Dan took over with the lad. So Tim and I walked up. We all got back in the van. We were already hungry. We got back to hostel in Cromford. We all made some food. We got everyone off to bed, and Dan and Tim and I sat down and just went, oh, it was a bit of an afternoon, wasn't it? As we started to relax. I said to Dan, when we were walking on that road, were you looking at something in the grasses? And he said, I didn't know what it was, but it looked like a cat. I said, that's what I thought. Dan sat down and he said, well, he was trying to get to the bottom of what happened and diffuse the anger in this young man. And while we were sat there, we heard this very deep, vibrating growl in his head. He'd start to put 2 and 2 together, the silhouette in the grass, and then this noise, and he realised he needed to get out of there, and very quickly. And so that's what he did. He came and joined us. We felt it was necessary to report this to the National Parks and Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, and it actually turned up in the local newspaper, but they changed the location, they changed the people who'd spotted it, but the suggestion that a big cat of Derbyshire did actually exist was out there.
Hi, listeners. I'd like to talk about a stone I visited on the northern side of Kingscote. The northern side of Kingscote, in my eyes, is perhaps one of the most beautiful edges that the Peak District has to offer. If you head south then into the plateau from the northern edge of Kingscote, if you know where you're looking, you'll find a rock that's not very widely known and not on any maps, called the Aztec Rock. And one side of it is carved with a really intricate design. Almost looks like a stereotypical Aztec representation of a lizard. It's not known who carved it, or why, or when. We don't know how old it is. And I went to find it. It was one of those real moments where I wasn't sure that I would. And I remember walking through some scrub and then seeing the carved side of the Aztec stone, and just how long I allowed myself to sit with it and to look at the carvings and championing the fact that I found it and made it. For me, it was a real celebration of the exploration that led to it, and just enjoying the fact that its history isn't known, and that allows a lot of space for us to put our own stories into it. When we don't know the origin of something, we can make it whatever we want to do.
So, 19 years ago, on the 7th of May, we moved up to Derbyshire from London. We moved to Matlock. And from when we moved in, we would see this woman walking past. And for some background, the house we moved into, it's an old police house on Hurst Farm Council Estate. And before it was a council estate, it used to be a working farm that was bought up after World War II and converted into housing for people needing homes from places like Derby and Sheffield, which were obviously bombed quite severely. Every day since we moved there,